In this lesson of quadratic equations part 2, we'll be solving quadratic equations by completing the squares method and by the quadratic equation formula. Like we said, not all quadratic equations can be solved by factorization, like this one we have here. So we have another method we call completing the squares method. And how do we go by this? Now, what we do is this. Solution. We have on the left hand side x squared minus 4x minus 2 is equal to 0. We keep x squared minus 4x on the left hand side and move our 2 to the right hand side. Move our minus 2 to the right hand side. Before we do that, we make sure that the coefficient of x squared is unity, that is 1, just as we have this here. So the next thing we'll do is we'll try to make this expression a perfect square. And the way to make this expression a perfect square is that we have the coefficient of x, half the coefficient of x square it and add it to both sides. So the coefficient of x here is minus 4. So what we do is that we say half of minus 4 and we square. This will give us minus 4 over 2 squared, or we say this is minus 2 squared. So what we'll do now is we add to both sides. We have x squared minus 4x plus minus 2 squared is equal to 2 plus minus 2 squared. This will give us this expression. For this expression, we'll just pick the x and we pick the minus 2 and put in a bracket and square. Is the same thing as this. So we have x minus 2 squared. This is the same thing as this. Is equal to 2 plus 4, which is equal to 6. Now, on our left hand side, we have x minus 2 squared, and on the right hand side, we have 6. So you find the square root, take square root of both sides. We have x minus 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 6. So our x will give us plus 2. We'll be taking our minus 2 over to the right hand side, plus or minus the square root of 6. And this will give us 2 plus or minus the square root of 6 is 2.4495. So our x is equal to 2 plus 2.4495, or 2 minus 2.4495. And this will give us x is equal to 4.4495 or minus 0.4495. Remember, the instruction is we leave our answer correct to 2 decimal places. Our x is equal to 4.45 or minus 0.45. Leave your answer as the instructions say and indicate it 2.2 decimal places. This is our answer. So we have another example that says solve the quadratic equation 3x squared minus 2x minus 2 is equal to 0. Here we have 3x squared minus 2x minus 2 is equal to 0. The first thing we do before we start moving things is to make this equation a standard form. How do we make this? We make sure that the coefficient of x squared is unity, so we divide through by 3. This will give us 3x squared over 3 minus 2x over 3 minus 2 over 3. This is equal to 0. So this will give us x squared minus 2x over 3 minus 2 over 3. This is equal to 0. Now we can now start moving terms. We have x squared minus 2x over 3 is equal to 2 over 3. So we make the left hand side a perfect square. We go again, we say half of the coefficient of x, which is half of minus 2 over 3. Then we square the result. This will give us minus 1 over 3 squared. So we add this result to both the left hand side and the right hand side. We have x squared minus 2x over 3 plus minus 1 over 3 squared is equal to 2 over 3 plus minus 1 over 3 squared. This left hand side is the same thing as like I said in the first example. We just pick this x and pick this minus 1 over 3 and square both of them. We have x minus 1 over 3 squared. This is the same thing as this expression, and this will give us 2 over 3 plus 1 over 9. Let us solve the right hand side first. LCM, this is 9. 3 in 9 is 3 times 2, that will give us 6, plus 9 in 9, 1 times 1, that will give us 1. So this will give us 7 over 9. So what this is that our x minus 1 over 3 all squared is equal to 7 over 9. So we take roots of both sides. This will give us x minus 1 over 3 is equal to the square root of 7 over 9. And from so, this is the same thing as the square root of 7 over the square root of 9, which is equal to the square root of 7 over 3. So our x minus 1 over 3 is equal to the square root of 7 over 3. Don't forget this is plus or minus. So our x is equal to 1 over 3 plus or minus the square root of 7 all over 3, and this will give us 1 plus or minus the square root of 7 over 3. So our x will give us 1 plus or minus the square root of 7 is 2.6458. That is four decimal places. 2.6458 all over 3. Our x is equal to 1 plus 2.6458 over 3, or 1 minus 2.6458 over 3. So this will give us 3.6458 over 3, or minus 1.6458 over 3. So when we divide our x will give us 1.215267, or minus 0.5489. So correct to two significant figures, our x is equal to 1.22 or minus 0.55. Okay, now we have another example. Now let us see how to solve this. We say solve the quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0 by completing the square. We have a x squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So we divide through by a. We have ax squared over a plus bx over a plus c over a. This will give us 0. So we have x squared plus b over ax plus c over a. This is equal to 0. So we take our c over a to the left hand side, to the right hand side. We have x squared plus b over ax is equal to minus c over a. Then we have the coefficient of x and square it, then add to both sides. So we have half of b over a all squared. This will give us b over 2a squared. This is what we're going to add to both sides. So we have x squared plus b over ax plus b over 2a squared is equal to minus c over a plus b over 2a squared. Let us still work on the left hand side, right hand side. So we have minus c over a plus b squared over 4a. On the left hand side, we just pick this and this and put in our bracket and square. We have x plus b over 2a squared. This is the same thing as x squared plus b over ax plus b over 2a all squared. So this is equal to, work on the LCM, minus 4ac plus b squared over 4a. This we can rewrite as b squared minus 4ac over 4a. So we have x plus b over 2a squared is equal to b squared minus 4ac over 4a. Take roots of both sides, take square root of both sides. We're going to have x plus b over 2a is equal to the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 4a. So if we go by the rules of sort, this is something as we give us, remember it's plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over the square root of 4a. So this will give us plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. We have x plus b over 2a is equal to plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all in square root over 2a. So our x will become minus b over 2a plus or minus b squared minus 4ac in square root over 2a. This will give us minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So we can see for every equation, general equation that is represented as ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, then our x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. This is what we call the general quadratic equation. Let us use this formula to solve questions of quadratic equation. We can go back to those examples we did before. Let us use the general quadratic equation formula to solve our first example. We have x squared minus 4x minus 2 is equal to 0. Now you recall that our x was 4.45 or minus 0.45. We said that if ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, then x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So let us compare. Our equation is x squared minus 4x minus 2 is equal to 0. So in this place we have our a is equal to 1, our b is equal to minus 4, and our c is equal to minus 2. Let us substitute this value in the general quadratic equation formula. So our x will become minus our b, which is minus 4, plus or minus the square root of minus 4 squared minus 4 into our a, 1, into our c, minus 2, over 2 into our a, 1. So this will give us x is equal to 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 plus 8 over 2. This will give us 4 plus or minus the square root of 24 over 2, which is the same thing as 4 plus or minus 2 root 6 over 2. Our x is, when we divide both sides, when we divide through, plus or minus 2 root 6 over 2. This will give us 2 plus or minus root 6. We arrived at what we had before. This will give us x is equal to 2 plus or minus 2.4495, which is the same thing as 4.4495 or minus 0.4495, which is equal to 4.45 or minus 0.45. You can see that this formula could solve any quadratic equation. I want you to try your hands using either the factorization method, the completing the square method, or the general equation method to solve equations. The next time we work on quadratic equations, we will use graphical method.